My name is John, and I'm going to help explain coastal erosion to you. The coastline of Washington State experiences high-energy waves, which cause much more damage than in Puget Sound, which we looked at last time. Like I mentioned before, the main cause of coastal erosion is waves. Wind blows over the ocean and pushes the water, forming waves that eventually meet with the land. When waves hit the coast, they can erode the land. Stronger waves with shorter periods, like in winter storms, hit the shore harder and cause more damage. Coastlines that slope upwards underneath the water are eroded slower than abrupt shores. This is because the sloping land can slow the waves and cause them to break. Because the direction the wind and the waves move, coasts running north and south generally get more damage than those running east and west. There are many factors that can cause erosion on coastlines, but here are some of the ones that work the fastest. Storm surges, rip currents, underflow, overwash, sea level change, and lack of sediment.
In the last century, much of the sediment supply for beaches has been cut off by dams and jetties. Dams, like the Grand Coulee on the Columbia, slow water down and make them drop sediment, which would have been added to the ocean. Jetties act as a barrier and trap the sediment in a harbor or bay. Both revetments and seawalls can be harmful to adjacent areas, although seawalls do more damage. Nature has its own way of preventing coastal erosion that usually works. Beaches are the buffer between the ocean and the land. People can add sand to widen beaches, but dredging and adding too much sediment can be harmful in the long run. To help understand the sediment problem, let's head to the lab. Now I'm going to show how sediment moves from one area to another. This will be done with water. Water represents sediment, and the glasses represent the beach. Normally, sediment would flow into the beach uninterrupted. When a structure is built, it can cut off the sediment supply and send it to another area, causing the first area to erode.
People have tried to solve coastal erosion problems using several management techniques, most of which consist of building a structure along the sea. The easiest and cheapest is a revetment or a bulkhead, like the one behind me. These consist of large rocks and sometimes concrete blocks that will reinforce the shoreline and absorb the energy from the waves. Another example is a seawall, but these can be expensive to build and repair.
As we said in our last video, coastal erosion isn't a problem to anyone except those who have developed the land next to the water and invested in roads, homes, or other buildings. Besides the structures that are threatened, this really isn't a problem for the population as a whole. However, people must be informed that we affect the process of coastal erosion and sediment deposit.
In our previous shows, we examined flooding and landslides. These two topics and coastal erosion are not as separated as you might think. They're all part of a worldwide process that we see in sections like landslides, floods, and coastal erosion. But they're all related. Erosion on our coastlines is partly caused by lack of sediment. This comes partially from flood control. Floods are a great source of sediment for our beaches. Landslides can be caused by water undercutting slopes. This can be from floodwaters or ocean waves smashing against bluffs. Hopefully, one day we will understand that these are not isolated events, but they are all related, and trying to control one can affect another. But until then, we hope that you will be safe and respect the land that we all use. Floods are a great source of sediment for our beaches. Landslides can be caused by water undercutting slopes. This can be